Hi people, Night Thoughts back again. See the Rudd government at it again. This 40% tax they put on the mining industry. Look, you don't have to be an idiot to work out who's making all the money in this country. Now ask the question, who makes all the money? Who is making billions and billions and billions of dollars every quarter? The banking industry. The banks. They're the ones that are making all the money. So they're the ones that government should be taxing. They should put a 40% tax on the bloody banks. The printing presses. You know, we had all this worldwide credit or financial stumble, but the banks are back making billions and billions of dollars every quarter. I think the Westpac yesterday or today, or I think it was, or in the last couple of days anyway, advertised their profit for a quarter, 2 point something billion dollars for a quarter. You know, the National Bank, I think a couple of months ago, or whenever they advertised their profit, that was in the billions as well. I mean, Christ, how thick are the government? How thick are the people in the taxation department? That's where the money is. That's who they should be taxing. You know, the mining industry, okay, where's all this, where are all our resources going? They're going to China, or a big percentage of our resources are going to China. Majority of the stuff, I suppose. Huge amounts of dollars involved. But there are rumours around now that China could go down the gurgler. The next big bubble to explode. If that happens, what's going to happen to our resources? What's going to happen to all the jobs? What's going to happen to all the taxes, all the money? If the government taxed the banks 40%, no matter what happens, they're still going to get money whenever they have to pay it. If they have to pay it every quarter like the GST, they'll pay the 40% tax every quarter. Like I said, printing press. So that's who they should be attacking. I've mentioned before about the mining industry. Most of it's foreign owned. You know, I've mentioned about get rid of them, kick them out, take them over. But at the moment you wouldn't want to take them over because you don't know what's going to happen in China. If the bubble does burst, and it's pretty serious stuff in China, if the people in government can't work out what's happening around the world, I mean, they've got people who just sit there all day looking at news reports and videos and all that sort of stuff every day, probably 24 hours a day, finding out what's going on here, what's going on there. They know what's going on. And if that does happen, if China does go or slows down to any point, like, you know, slows down fast, that's going to knacker our mining industry. All the people that are employed, earning huge money, they are going to be knackered. Most of those people have invested in, well, probably pretty heavily in Western Australia anyway, as far as housing is concerned, and cars and everything else they own. But if they lose their jobs, they're not going to be able to pay their mortgages, and you know, there's going to be a lot of people thrown out of their homes. A bit like America, you know, you bought a house for $500,000 or 600,000 or whatever it is, and if the if a crisis does come, and it'll be huge when it does, because like I said, there's a lot of money involved with our exports, especially in materials to China. It's going to be absolutely huge, and you know, like I said, 500 or 600,000. There'll be hundreds of houses, thousands of houses, just left. Banks will have foreclosures and auction them off. They'll get whatever they can for them. You know, they'll probably get 200 grand for them or something. That's what's happening in America. Like I said, you know, I'm only a layman. If I can pick this stuff up by a couple of hours a day reading reports that come out of America, or reading news reports on anywhere in the world, surely the government know. They have to know. So that's what they should be doing. They should be taxing the banks. Because the banks, doesn't matter what happens, bank will always make money. Unless there's something really goes skew with. Well, I suppose if the mining industry goes skew with and people can't pay their mortgages, well, maybe the banks will go down a gurgler as well. But some of these bigger banks that are making all these billions of dollars, I mean, everything has to change in this country. The world is a totally different place from, say, take from the 70s, 80s, around that area, 60s, 70s, 80s. The world has changed. It's just basically gone full circle. And everybody's been caught up in easy money, borrow, borrow, borrow. I mean, there's not too many people that don't owe anybody any money and have got money in the bank. The majority of us owe some kind of money, whether it's a bank loan or a credit card or car payment or whatever. But these bankers that have, like this mortgage fiasco that was in America, and it's still coming, there's still going to be heaps more of it. They're even, it's even affecting people that have been able to pay their mortgages over the last 12 months. But some of those people are even struggling now because of the downturn in employment and everything else that's going on in America. Really bad. England's probably the same. I mean, you know, the IMF just bailed out Greece the other day. Well, they're talking about bailing them out because they've been on a excuse me, on a spending spree, just like this government. Now, you know, they're talking about the hospital system and trying to get the 30% GST off the states to pay for it. When I mentioned that, I thought to myself, oh yeah, it's okay. Where are they going to get the money from? You know, we borrowed, I think it was 42 billion or something for the stimulus package. And that was, you know, short-term thinking. You know, pump this money in, don't worry about when we pay it back. You know, our kids will pay it back, or their kids will pay it back. But it's been advertised in the paper on the news, you know, that there's been a few rip-offs, you know, people have ripped the system. Projects that were supposed to have been paid for, or supposed to have been constructed, have only partially been constructed, or, you know, it's been ripped off anyway. Not all of it, but probably a few $100 million or something. Always happens when people, especially when the government dish out money. The whole thing has to change. I've mentioned before about there's going to be a worldwide food shortage. I've mentioned about growing food in this country, putting canals across the country and getting water, all that sort of stuff. That's where all our money should be going. I mean, the hospital system, okay, it has to be cleaned up. But, you know, I put a video out the other day, you know. Use half the money to keep people away from hospitals. But this 40% tax on the mining industry is just, it's crazy. Put the 40% tax on the banks and you'll have the money coming in every quarter. That's my feelings. Night, boys, can't you?